Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. I am Imran Haider. I am working for Capacity Building Directorate in National CERT, Government of Pakistan. So welcome you all. Welcome to National CERT's CyberWatch webinar series and organized by National CERT, Government of Pakistan. Today we have a fifth webinar session. And we have invited today Mr. Muhammad Ali Paracha. He is head of cyber defense in Transurban Limited, Melbourne, Australia. And so today Ali will cover the topic cyber incident response practices and frameworks. Ali doesn't need any kind of introduction, लेकिन मैं चाहूँगा कि कुछ छोटा सा introduction Ali का आपके सामने ले आऊँ. Ali is a 20-year cybersecurity veteran, employs a strategic and holistic approach to safeguard organizations against cyber threats in the cybersecurity, information security, fraud, and privacy sectors. He combines deep technical knowledge with strong leadership and communication skills, enabling him to effectively lead cybersecurity functions across various domains. In 2020, he founded the BSides Islamabad chapter to promote cybersecurity in Pakistan. The upcoming BSides Islamabad on-site conference is scheduled in January 2025. Ali has recently acquired certifications in cyber threat intelligence, SANS incident response and operation technology, industrial control systems, training from CESA, US CESA, cyber crisis management, and AWS Cloud Security, reflecting his dedication to continuous learning in emerging fields. He is undergoing advanced training in leadership at Melbourne Business School. His dedication to shaping the future of cybersecurity and advancing industry standards is highlighted by his commitment to continuous learning and executive engagement. So, welcome Ali. Thank you very much for sparing some time for us for this National CERT's webinar series. I know रात के 1 बज रहे हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में. Thank you very much. So I would like you to brief yourself, जो आप अपने बारे में brief करना चाहें audience के लिए, and forum is open. We will have a 1 hour and 15 minutes session from your side. Then we will have around 15 minutes of Q&A session. Floor is open for you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Imran. First of all, thank you for having me here, and Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Can you just confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So today, as Imran mentioned, that we are going to discuss cyber incident response fundamentals and frameworks. Very interesting topic, close to my heart because I do day to day in my work life. So agenda, and then I will my introduction as well. So agenda, what we are going to discuss today in next 1 hour. Why do we need incident response? If you're not familiar with cyber incident response, we will have a bit of touch there as well. Understanding threats and threat actors. Threat actors क्या होते हैं, threats क्या होते हैं, cyber threats we are talking about every day, and then we'll have a high level touch on that one as well. Building incident response capability beyond cyber. When we discussed incident response capability, why we should be having cyber resilience capability beyond cyber only. IT and OT incident response specifically, I will have a good touch on this one, like IT and OT incident response, why are they different and how we should treat them different as well. Building organization resilience, incident response readiness, how we make sure that we are ready if organization hit with the incident response. And also I can see there are, young generation, young people join this call as well. So I will have a high-level discussion on what skills you should develop if you want to come in this field in cyber incident response, or threat detection field, or intelligence field as well. And then last we touch incident response, intelligence-driven incident response, we call it threat intelligence, and incident response frameworks as well. Who am I? Why you should listen to me? जैसे इमरान साहब ने introduction करवाया, my name is Muhammad Ali Paracha. I am head of cyber defense in one of the company, and as part of my role, actually, I lead 3 teams. One is typical, you might know about SOC, Security Operations Center. So my team actually look after the incident detection 24/7 across Australia, North America, or Canada. And also the second team is vulnerability management, pen testing, adversary emulation, and threat intelligence. And third team is detection engineering, actually, who are the designing the systems, are enabling the new controls across the systems. And our organization actually run three type of environments, which is typical enterprise, which you would have, like sort of computers, networks, and all that stuff. But we have a cloud environment as well, a big, and also the OT as well. I will discuss what OT is in the next stage as well. Research areas, I'm doing a bit of research as well, specifically in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and also large language models, specifically that how we can use AI machine learning in cyber defense, specifically capabilities. And also you might see on the screen as well, I'm definitely old guy, and then you can see the dial-up connection, all this stuff as well. So I have used all these technologies in 2000, CD, floppy, these desktop computers, and also I'm a chef as well. Like cooking is my passion. You know what I do if I'm not working. So let's start on the security incident. So let's start with a very basic. What is a security incident when we come to cyber incident response? So as per NIST 861, it's a framework which we'll discuss later as well. So security incident actually is a violation or imminent threat of a violation of a computer security policies, acceptable use policy, and standard security practices. Your organization, जहाँ पे आप काम कर रहे होंगे, they would have some security policies, called it acceptable use policy or authorized access use policy. And then if you see that this policy is not being followed, or some unauthorized access happen, or any DDoS activity happen, or someone stole the credentials of the staff member, or your company website is defaced, so we call it a security incident. And then we handle that security incident as per the procedures we will discuss next. But these are actually the adverse events which are negative consequences, such as system crashes, packet flooding, unauthorized access to the system. They are all comes under a security incident, and when they hit, we call it a security incident, and then we go to the next stage of the incident. The next questions come in our mind: why do we need incident response? Why cyber incident response is required? So over the last 5 years, we have seen, even last 10 years, I would say, we have seen a quick uptick in the incidents coming globally. Global incident, as well as I will discuss the local incident happened in Pakistan as well, definitely. And that actually not impacts the financial or the business side or customer side of the thing, but also now when it comes to the OT, special operation technology, we are talking about the hospitals, we are talking about the industry, we are talking about the road and transport, where the the people safety is one of the most important thing. They impacted as well. So you can see on the right side of the screen, Pakistan largest power plant hit by network and ransomware. That was in, and that we'll discuss as well in the next one. That was Karachi Electric Power Plant, which was actually hit by a ransomware. And then we'll discuss later who was the threat actor behind that and what was the consequences. But also a lot of Australian firms and infrastructure, they were impacted as well. The recent one was Optus, which is one of the telecom operator, big telecom operator here in Australia, but also Medibank, which is one of the medical, or you can call it insurance company, hit by as well. Their system was compromised, and then they had to pay legal cost, and the all the other things as well. So we'll discuss next in that one. And on the left side, you can see the Colonial Pipeline, which we discussed as well in the next slide. Colonial Pipeline is one of the big US pipeline, fuel delivery pipeline. They got impacted with the ransomware as well, and what were the consequences, so we'll discuss that. So it means we need incident response as a capability, as a function at the organization level, so that we know what are the threats we are dealing with, what are the different threats we have, and how we need to respond to these type of threats. So let's discuss now in detail the first incident. That was in May 2021. As I mentioned, Colonial Pipeline. Colonial Pipeline is one of the most high-profile cyber attacks in the recent US history. The attacker who was dark side attacker, their affiliation, I think, was Russian threat pipeline, which actually Colonial Pipeline had to stop their network. They had to shut down their network to prevent the ransomware stopping from one network to other network. And it happened, they restored within 5 days, but they had to pay ransom of $4.4 million. But after some time, FBI actually recovered some of the amount. I think 70 to 80% amount was recovered back because they had paid in Bitcoin and they tracked those Bitcoins and they recovered that amount. But still, that was actually the eye opener for the US government as well. And President Biden at that time actually, he initiated a law as well, how they can prevent such type of attacks, big attacks, gigantic attack, which can actually hurt their critical infrastructure. And then from there, they had a law. Even in Australia now, we have a law as well, which is called SOCI, Security of Critical Infrastructure. Like all these organizations who are providing services to the customers, are they critical of nature or human safety, they are being labeled as a SOCI, critical infrastructure organizations, and they have to make sure that their systems are resilient. They are making sure that they have cyber incident response capability, and if they would have been hit with the cyber incident, how they will report that to the regulatory authority as well. So if you take an example, like in Pakistan, lot of companies like in the power generation, we have a lot of companies in the gas, SSGC, SNGPL type of companies in Pakistan. They are of critical nature. It means they are providing these critical services to the customers. They should be having a high level of maturity in the cyber capability that they can protect and their infrastructure from these types of attack, and also they can respond to these attacks as well. It means they should be capable enough. They should have understanding. Their system should be resilient as well, which we'll discuss in the next area as well, that what are the resiliency means. But also you can see here, it took them 6 days actually to recover from this incident. It means for 6 days they have to handle this incident. Now we are discussing the next incident, which was SolarWinds. If you have not heard about that, that was one of the famous incident as well. And that's also called Sunburst incident. And that was related to or attributed to APT29. So what is APT? Advanced persistent threats, mostly they are very sophisticated nature. It means they are not doing the traditional type of attack like the phishing emails, like the website defacement type of attacks, but also they are advanced. Mostly because of their advanced nature, they are very stealthy in the nature. What stealthy means, they can stay in the organization network for longer period and they can go undetected. Why they can adopt these approaches? Because they are of complex nature. They need good funding to create these type of attacks that they can't be detected by the security controls. It means उनको ऐसे control चाहिए होते हैं, ऐसी techniques चाहिए होती हैं कि they can stay in the network but you would not detect it. It means they need some good funding, and mostly they are being funded by some state-sponsored threat actors. That's why they're also called state-sponsored threat actors as well, and sometimes they're called APTs as well, advanced persistent threats. So again, going back to that one, December 2020, that was detected by a company called FarEye. FarEye actually detected that, and they informed to the company actually who was compromised is a SolarWinds compromise. And SolarWinds actually is a company which provides a security network monitoring software. So you would have imagined that if your company is having network components like routers, switches, all the network components, they need some network monitoring software. So SolarWinds was that one, and a lot of companies in the global, the scale, they had this software. So the threat actor was really very smart, and they actually injected that DLL, the malicious DLL, in the actual software, and the companies, when they download their software, they will actually compromise. And that was detected after 1 year. It means the attacker was in the network of all these organizations. Customers is 18,000 to 36,000 which were impacted with this incident. So what actions they were taken actually? The big companies, Microsoft, FarEye, they all were impacted actually. So they had to isolate their network. They had to remove this, the buggy software from the network. And the lessons learned from there, they had supply chain security. So we will talk about the supply chain security as well. What is supply chain security means? Supply chain is if you are using any third-party softwares, like definitely you might be using Office 365, the Azure instances, the SaaS services, you are using that one. These are all the supply chain. If they are being attacked, you will be directly impacted with that one because you're using the service, like we are using Google Meet now. So if they are impacted or they are compromised, it means we can't use that service and we are impacted that as well. And also the last, detection and response capability. So we should have that level of maturity in the detection response capability that we can detect these type of attack, and we should handle that in a better way as well. And the next and last is Karachi Electric ransomware attack, September 2020, as I discussed in the start. So that was a ransomware attack as well by cyber criminals, and that was suffered by networker ransomware. Again, networker ransomware is ransomware as a service. Ransomware as a service means the attacker actually, they are developers, like they develop this malware, but they don't use it only for themselves, but also they give it to their affiliates as well. What are the affiliates? It's called like a franchise model. जैसे franchise model होता है कि you take this model, you go and compromise other companies, whatever you get as a ransom, then you share with the developer. So this is called ransomware as a service. It means this is off-the-shelf service. You don't need to develop the malware. You can use that malware for that one. So Karachi Electric was impacted with that one. And also, they also not only took the data, but also you can see here that they took around 8.5 GB of data actually from Karachi Electric, and they posted on the dark web as well to ask for the ransom. It means there are two types of things. One is extortion, one is double extortion. They not only encrypt your system, but also take out the data, and then they ask for ransom. So in this, you can see on the right side as well, this is actually from the actual snippet from there when they ask for these bitcoins that they have to pay as a ransomware amount or a ransomware payment. So from these incidents, what we learned that you should have regular backups. It means your all systems, your all applications you're relying on from the business purpose, from the customer purpose, from the functional purpose, they should be backed up properly. It means backup and not placed on the same server or the same location. They should be backed up and placed in a different location where attacker would not have access to, and you can easily recover, and it should be recovered and tested as well, that they can recover when you need it. Also, network segmentation access control as well should be one of the control. It means you should have a clear network segmentation in network, like your host network or the user network, जहाँ से आप machine connect कर रहे हैं, typical corporate users, they should not be allowed to access to the network easily or like a direct way to the server's network or where the customer's data is, where the crown jewels are. There should be some segmentation between the firewalls or whatever the way of segmentation is. You should have access control mechanism so you can access your crown jewels or the critical system through access control mechanism. And again, the same thing, the last is incident response readiness and preparedness assessment. It means you should develop your incident response plans, and then you should test your incident response plan that in case of any incident, even done by APT, advanced persistent threats, or a script kiddies, you can detect those incidents and then you can respond those incidents as well. So now coming back to that one, why do we need incident response? There are a couple of reasons. There is a regulatory compliance reason as well. If you're working for a bank, then bank would have a regulatory compliance from State Bank of Pakistan that you need to have incident response capability or a function, which normally you will start with a SOC function or security operations center. We call it cyber defense. Then we have a integrated threat intelligence, other function in there as well, which shows the maturity, but also the legal obligations as well. It means legally your company is bound to have that level of maturity that you can detect and respond to these incidents. And in case of any incident happens, if you are a critical infrastructure organization, how quickly you have to report back to that regulatory authority that you had hit with the incident and you are now dealing with the incident. So you might have to share with more information with your law enforcement agencies. Like in Pakistan, you can definitely report it to the police, FIA, and now PKCERT is a good one. Like you can closely work with them as well if you hit with the incident, that how to respond to these incidents and who might be the threat actors, so they can share some threat intelligence with you as well. Also, incident response required for business continuity to reduce the financial loss as well. Like if you hit with a cyber incident and you were not in a good position to handle that incident, which might impact your customer data and your the exfiltrated a lot of data, so the company might got hit with the financial loss or the penalties as well, which the companies definitely want to avoid that. It means you need to have a better capability that you can respond to these type of threats. And also the last thing is reputation, protecting reputation in businesses nowadays. Reputation is matters a lot, because if you can't protect your systems, your customer data, your websites are not available, your apps are not available, then customer will show dissatisfaction and they will move away from your infrastructure or the services you're offering. So let's discuss about cyber threat. We discussed about all the threats in the start. What are the different threats? But as a high level, what is the threat actually? So threat actually is the combination of three. So you want to understand, is it threat relevant to you or it's going to impact you? So how you will start that? So first you will understand who is the threat, who is the threat actor behind that. Are they capable? This capability means, are they skilled enough? Do they have access, and can they threaten you? The second thing, it means if they are capable and they have intent as well, it means they want to attack your organization because of geopolitical reasons, because of, you are operating in a country where the other country want to attack your systems. And also industry you are operating in. If you are in a particular industry where the threat actors wants to attack your industry, maybe for the financial gain, to get the ransom or to ask you for any other thing, it means they would have intent. So capability plus intent, and then get opportunity. Opportunity, how you will get the opportunity? If your systems are not patched, if your practices, security practices are not mature enough yet, that you're not having any access control mechanisms in there, or your email security mechanisms are not good, or your systems are not patched, it means you're giving them an opportunity. So if all these combinations meet the criteria, like they are capable enough, they have the intent and the opportunity, it means this threat is relevant to you and we need to be worried about that. So now different cyber threats types, we know, starting with malware, you might have heard, this company got hit with the malware. So malicious code is called it a virus, Trojan, worms, ransomware. These are all type of, these types of the malicious or malware threats. You might have heard about the different ransomware or malware, WannaCry, NotPetya 2017 that got hit. WannaCry and NotPetya was a big ransomware which impacted global organization, including the logistics company like Maersk and Merck as well. And they got impacted. They had outages in the system as well. And in some cases, they were not able to operate for months. And the other threat actor or threat type is phishing and social engineering. So you might heard about the phishing emails. You might have received social emails as well, which is actually the spear phishing, targeting emails to your organization, wishing and phishing as well, SMS based. Now we receive a lot of SMS based scams as well, where the fraudsters, they actually want you to click on the URL in the text, and then it takes you to some page where they want you to pay the payment. So it would have some fraudulent activities and you were not able to detect that. Like I heard a lot of scams were happening in Pakistan as well. Like, they were impersonating that the SMS is coming from the bank and they ask you to input some information. So these are all social media attempts or social engineering attempts, which we detect as and treat as a cyber threat as well. Denial of service, distributed denial of service is one of them as well, which is more volumetric attack or application layer based attacks, where they actually limit the company's capability to operate. It can be the website, it can be the DDoS on the network, which can actually limit that one. And that can start from megabytes, it can go to the terabyte as well. It means you need to have a better controls that you can detect denial of service and distributed denial of service attacks in your network or against the systems as well. And the next is the man in the middle attack. It means Wi-Fi interception attack. Sometimes you might heard about that if you are working from airport or location in the hotel, your network might not be secure, because there is quite a possibility that someone in the, in that network would be intercepting your traffic, because you might not be connecting to the legitimate Wi-Fi. You might be connecting to the attacker's network or any fraudster network who wants to, take your information, whatever you're using in the public place. So continuing on cyber threat type, these are other cyber threat types. Advanced persistent threat, we discussed about that. Advanced persistent threats, mostly they would be state sponsors or nation state threat actors. And also insider threats, interesting one. So who are the insider threats? These are the malicious insiders as well. As part of the organization, they might be disgruntled employee he's not happy with the organization and wants to go against the organization. So they can steal the information from the organization and can share with other competitive organization. So basically, अगर वो एक company में काम कर रहे हैं, like a defense department, and they get some information there and share with some other country defense organization. So definitely that's not only the have adverse impact on that company, but also the country level as well. So these are the different insider threats. You might have heard about Edward Snowden, who leaked actually the information from NSA to the press, and that case is still we are hearing in the media as well a lot. So that was one of the good example of insider threat as well. And then continuing on that one, zero-day exploits, different threat types. Zero-day exploits are actually the vulnerabilities, mostly the misconfigurations which come in the media as well. Normally nowadays, they are not detected, not documented until there comes to the surface that these are the zero-day vulnerabilities which need to be patched as soon as possible if you want to avoid any adverse impact in your network. So make sure that if you have zero-day exploits, how quickly you can patch them. And also the credential stuffing as well. So credential stuffing is a password spray activities where the attacker, they will actually do the password spray activities, or if they have the hashes in the network, they will steal those hashes Why they want to do that? Because they want easy access to your network. So they don't want to send the malware. They don't want to drop the phishing emails in your network, but also they get access to some of the passwords, that password clear text usernames, and then now they want to test that passwords are valid or not. So they do some password attack activities or password spray activities against your infrastructure or the systems as well. Okay, so what we discussed until now, we discussed about the incident, we discussed about the threat, and now we are talking about the threat actors. So जब आप ये सुनते हैं कि different threat actors, someone has been attacked, it means there was a threat actor who actually attacked an organization or a country or typical, organization. So what does it look like? Who are the threat actors? On the left side, you can see these are the different categories of the threat actors. They start with nation state. उनकी motivation क्या होती है? Geopolitical, cyber criminals, hacktivists, terrorist groups, thrill seekers, we also call the script kiddies, who are not ad advanced, but they want to, do something, and insider threats as well. So we'll discuss in detail that what are the nation state threat actors. So let's discuss about that first. So nation state threat actors, you can see on the right side, we call it APT-29, APT-41, Volt Typhoon, APT-29, Russian threat actors, APT-41, Chinese threat actors, and North Korea actually in WannaCry involvement actually. That was an interesting one. So nation state threat actors वो होते हैं जिसके पीछे different states होती हैं और motivation उसमें ये होती है कि they want to do the cyber espionage. They want to steal the trade secrets, or they want to see the company secrets or the country secrets as well, what they are doing in the technology, if they are doing any working on the defense department or defense sector as well, if they are working on a rocket technology, what the rocket technology is, what's the missile technology looks like. It means वो जो trade secret होते हैं, they want to steal that, and then they help those advanced persistent threats to target those countries so that they can steal and then bring that information from them, which the information they can use in cyber terrorism, cyber warfare, or they can use for their own purpose in later as well. They can steal that and they can copy and they can use, they can make their own product or whatever they want in their own shape and form as well. So it means their motivation is stealing sensitive information in the military capabilities, foreign policy, and also demonstration of power and influence as well. It means they want to show the other country that, we are way powerful what you think. It means we can compromise your trade secrets and we know what you are doing in that space. Good examples were Stuxnet. If you don't know about Stuxnet, that's an interesting one. You should go and study actually. Stuxnet was a activity happened against Iran 2010. That was actually detected somewhere to 2007, or development happened in 2007, but actually detected in 2010 against Iran. And also NotPetya ransomware as well. NotPetya was North Korean ransomware against different organizations in the world, which is supported by nation state threat actors or state sponsored threat actors. Second category is cyber criminals. As the name tells you, cyber criminals basically what they want financial gain, they want money. So they want, for money, they commit fraud, they steal the data as well, which I was telling you before, double extortion. It means they aim to get to the access personal information or financial information. So basically cyber criminals क्या करते हैं कि वो या तो कंपनी का नेटवर्क हैक करते हैं या कंपनी की आईडीज हैक करते हैं. Basically what they want to access to the network. Once they get access to network, they take the data out. और different websites पे या deep dark web पे जाके वो post करते हैं data, जिसमें then they ask for ransom. कि they need $4 million if you want to get the data back. And even sensitive information, companies start negotiating with them, and then they pay the ransom, and sometimes they get the data back, or sometimes they get the keys of the encrypted systems back, and they can decrypt their system to make it working. Some of the examples: Colonial Pipeline, which we discussed before. Cyber criminals were behind that. Dark side ransomware, that was behind Colonial Pipeline, and the company in the US, Colonial Pipeline, they paid $4.4 million, although most of the money was recovered. Karachi Electric, I couldn't find any information on that one. They paid ransom or not, or recovered or not, but definitely they were hit by a networker ransomware. Again, it's a ransomware as a service as well. And Kaseya ransomware as well. So one of the good examples is Revel Sodinokobi. So Revel is ransomware evil. They are also cyber criminals. They are also called Sodinokobi. They are Russian based. They speak Russian. As it's in the malware sample, how you find out that these cyber criminals belong to which location? Sometime when you what you call it, malware reversing, or you code reverse, you find out that you can see these languages in there, malware written in Russian, or you find some words in there, a timestamp which tells you the affiliation of that threat actor as well. This is one of the how we check that they know where the threat actor belongs to. The third is hacktivists. So who are the hacktivists? Hacktivists वो होते हैं जो कि driven by political or social motivations होते हैं. Who want change? Who want to change their political system? Who are not happy with the freedom of interest? उनको information नहीं होती. They don't want to speak. They can't speak publicly. It means they are frustrated and now they want to change the whole system. So they are hacktivists behind that. So what they do actually, they find the maybe government websites, they find the interesting website where public goes to, and they deface the websites. आपने कभी मैसेज देखे होंगे जो वेबसाइट हैक होती हैं, उस पर मैसेज लिखा हुआ होता है, और मैसेज basically they leave their signs there, or they leave their marks there just to tell that we are not happy and we want to change the system. One of the good example of hacktivists is the climate change hacktivists as well. You might have seen the conference happening in the Paris, and the hacktivists you will see on the the front of the building where this conference is happening, that they are not happy that the developed countries, they are not doing anything for the climate change. It means they're not happy and they will do anything to make sure they are being heard. They want to be heard. And the next one is cyber terrorists. So cyber terrorists, as the name initiates, that's they actually use the digital tools and different attack tactics to achieve their goal. And what they can do the disruption, impact. They can do the same thing as well. Cyber terrorists, they can deface the websites. They can do DDoS the attacks and networks as well. They can launch the propaganda campaigns, the phishing campaigns, the social media campaigns, manipulation as well, and also they can launch the misinformation campaigns as well, so that they can mislead the people that what they are thinking is the right, and they want to influence the people as well. It means the impact is not on the sociological impact but also the societal impact as well, and operational to digital infrastructure or the operational critical infrastructure as well. So they are called cyber terrorists. So these are all types of the cyber threats actors. And insider threats, as I mentioned before, we discussed that. The insider threats are from the organization. What they want, motivational gain by selling the confidential information to the other organization, the trade secrets, or to the other country as well, to the agencies as well. And why? Because they're not happy, they're discontented, and espionage as well. Like, they want to share the trade secrets so they can get some money in return as well. So, yep, they are involved in data theft, exfiltration, system sabotage, unauthorized access, which causes financial loss, operational disruption to the other organizations. So this is one of the threat as well. So we discussed all 4 or 5 types or 6 types of threats. And now we are discussing to deal with threats. Now we know what is incident. We know what are the threats. Who are the threat actors? So it means if we know these are the threats we are facing as an organization, now it's a time that we need to start building our cyber incident detection and response capability. And what is that? So basically, to protect the organizations from cyber threats, we need to develop incident response capability that extends beyond traditional cybersecurity measures. It means cybersecurity capability जब आप build करते हैं, it's not that you are building a soft function. It's building a cross-functional organization-wide processes. People should be trained. People awareness should be there. Like, all the staff in the organization should be trained for the phishing emails. They should know what is the phishing email looks like. And if they receive a phishing email or their system is not behaving correctly, how they need to report to, who they need to report to, what actions they have to take that, So this is awareness at the organization level, at the technical as well as organization level of cyber resilience as well. And we'll discuss in detail next, what does it mean? So basically, when it comes to the cyber incident response, it should be beyond cyber, what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so as I was saying in the previous slide, so cyber incident response is not only about cyber. If you are all from cyber, but during the incident, you have to work with a lot of other stakeholders in the organization. When a company hit with a cyber incident, they have to notify their management, like you might notify your CISO, and CISO might notify to the CEO or CTO or wherever they are reporting to. Lekin, then they have to engage their legal, they have to engage their risk, the risk and compliance. They have to engage their business continuity team as well. They have to engage their crisis management team as well. They have to engage their physical security and facilities might have as well. Because आपका जो incident है, that might be in a bank, that might be in operation technology is like a petrochemical plant where you need to inform your physical security or facility team as well that we are dealing with a security incident that can impact any building management system. It means how your doors are opening, how your lifts are opening, that might get impacted, so they need to be notified as well. It means the cyber incident is not only about cyber, it's about all the organization. They need to be engaged, they need to be part of the plan, and they need to be informed as well. And also your cyber insurance. If you already have a subscription, they call it cyber insurance, and cyber insurance, you get that if you get that in case you need any support. So they are not only paying for the losses you incur as a result of the incident, लेकिन also they give you support as well. So cyber insurance companies basically उनके पास retainer भी होते हैं, incident response retainer. If your security posture is not mature enough or you don't have the capability to respond to the incident, you can ask for them help as well, and they give you the technical support and help as well. And sometimes going above and beyond, they also provide you information like threat intelligence information, that who are the threat actors behind this activity, and they can help you out in the incident response as well. So basically it means as part of your incident response capability, you need to build up relations with all internal departments and also external as well. And who are external? External good example is like in your case in Pakistan, there will be law enforcement agencies. You want to inform police, you want to inform maybe FIA, you want to inform PKCERT as well. This is happening, and PKCERT can come in, that they can help because they would have a global threat landscape. They would have a global connections with other CERTs in the global as well, and they can bring information and knowledge to you that who are the threat actors, what are their TTPs. I will discuss TTPs next as well, like how they operate, how does this operator looks like, and what are their motivations behind that. It means you need to develop your relationship, and in the part of the incident response plan, you need to bring all these stakeholders in your incident response plan, that when incident hits, how these all incident response stakeholders will communicate to each other, and what does it look like. So now let's go to the next one. So when we discussed about incident response now comes in multiple, but mostly we are going to differentiate between IT and OT. IT, you already know, you already definitely have a good background working in IT, which is typically is a combination of systems, software, hardware, databases, applications, websites, mobile applications, CRM, ERP. These all are part of your IT, day-to-day what you use that. But the interesting part on the right side now, so operational technology actually is the OT, which refers to the hardware software used to monitor the control devices or physical processes. And what are these? आपने एयरपोर्ट पे जाते हुए कन्वेयर बेल्ट देखे होंगे जिस पे आप सामान रखते हैं, and then it goes to the plane. So these conveyor belts are, you might be working in a factory where there will be conveyor belts, or you might be working in the power plant where they are generating the power or distributing the power to your houses. So they all have OT environments. We also call it industry control systems as well. They have the PLC in the small industry. You have seen the robotic arms, the automotive manufacturing plants. आजकल जैसे गाड़ियां हैं वो ऑटोमेटिकली रोबोट्स तैयार कर रही हैं. Robots, they have these OT and district control systems behind that. They have PLC, which is called the programmable logical controllers, which are being controlled by the systems, and then they set the instructions to these robotic arms that what you have to do next. It means these are all the combination of hardware and software which is used in manufacturing, energy transportation, utilities, even the hospitals as well. They have IoT devices as well, the medical devices, they are part of the IoTs as well. So when it comes to IT versus OT, convergence happening. So I will just light touch this one. Why I'm discussing this one? Maybe in the future you want to work in the OT space. You might work for a power plant. You might work for an oil and gas plant as well. So you need to understand when you go in the incident response in OT space, why it's a bit difficult, and it's different as well. It's not like IT में जैसे एक incident आता है, you take some digital image, you take the memory image as a, you call it forensic image. आप इमेज लेते हैं जिससे आप जो किस सिस्टम की करंट स्टेट होती है उसको प्रिजर्व करते हैं या उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट करते हैं कि व्हाट हैपेंड, हाउ इट हैपेंड, व्हाई इट हैपेंड. यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दोस क्वेश्चंस. बट इन ओटी इज अ बिट डिफरेंट. एंड व्हाई इज गेटिंग डिफरेंट? बिकॉज OT was totally separate, used to be separate from IT. Normally these industries, they never wanted to connect their systems with IT systems because they were isolated and they were running perfectly. But then we had a requirement that we want to get data from OT environment. You want to understand, like I work in an industry, which is a road and transportation, like in Pakistan you have motorways. You want to understand how many cars actually pass through this gantry or this motorway, Lahore Islamabad motorway today. So you would have some sensors there, and these sensors will bring that information for you. It means you would have some business intelligence software running behind that, which will bring data from the systems on the road, and then you will get that out. It means you need to integrate your IT systems with OT systems, which brings जो कि आपके लिए आसानी लेके आता है, but also a bit of complexity as well, which we'll discuss in the next one, that because of this convergence, why incident response is getting difficult in the OT space specifically. And as I discussed, IT versus OT, when it comes to the incident response, on the left side you can see, you might have heard about CIA. CIA is a confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad, which is in the IT systems. When it comes to the the operationalization, confidential is the priority. You want to protect your system. Aapki information jo hai, you want to protect that. And then the second priority is integrity. Integrity is like, you don't want to, if there any change happen, you want to make sure that authorized change happen. You don't want to see any unauthorized changes. If unauthorized change happen, it means it's an incident, and now you want to investigate that one. And the next is availability. Like the systems are available when it's required. Like in OT space, when it comes to the industry, it's other way around. It's AIC. What is AIC? Availability first, because in OT availability is the first thing. The systems plants, the power plants, nuclear power plants, the hospital machines, they are running. For them, availability is the main important. If they have a cybersecurity incident, if they can sustain, they will wait for that operation to complete, and then they will ask you to investigate that incident. And also, again, the confidentiality is the least important thing for them, because for them, availability is the most important thing. So this is the other way around, which actually complicates the whole process of when you are dealing with the incident in the OT domain versus in the IT domain. This is a good example, actually. So you can see this is the document from Department of Homeland Security, the US, and that is a really good documentation if you want to go have a detailed study on that one. That was the forensics looks like in OT environment. So we are not discussing today the forensics, but forensics is the higher level. Forensics is part of the science, actually. So what happens whenever the crime happens, the criminal actually leave their artifacts. जो physical crime होता है जिस side पे, so you might see कि police या law enforcement जैसे they start collecting the data from there. They start collecting the fingerprints from the side. They start taking some picture from there. And the same is in the computer science as well. In the computer field, when incident happens, forensics start. Forensics starts how? We call it order of volatility. It means you want to capture the artifacts, or you want to get that information first, which can lose easily. जब incident response, when it comes to the machines, your computers में होता है या servers में होता है, what you want to capture first? You want to capture the live network connections which attacker had in your network. It means you want to get your network traffic from the machine, which is established network traffic. Second, you want to get the memory from the machine, because machine जब restart होती है, you lose the memory, or you lose the data from the RAM. It means you want to get that data second, and then it go to the disk. So this is the order of volatility. And same happens in the ICS domain as well. But on the left side now you can see that when it comes to the OT incident response, the forensic is a bit different there as well, because then you want to not only get the data or forensic data from the servers, from the machines, from network components, but also there are other components involved. PLCs, as I was just discussed in the later slide, that PLCs, HMIs, specifically the components now which are running all those industry control systems, you want to capture what happens with the PLC. So this is all part of the PLCs, or the field devices, or the robotic arms which I was discussing. So you want to capture all those artifacts as well, which was not happening in the traditional forensic domain, which was the IT domain. So this is an interesting one. You must actually read that one. So now we discussed all about incident. We should have an incident response capability. We know about IT and OT incident response as well. Now just touch this one, cyber resilience, and then we'll go next. What is cyber resilience actually? So cyber resilience is the organizational capability. So जब incident आता है, तो एक organization, how they react. Are they resilient enough? Are their business process, business continuity, disaster recovery is mature enough that they can sustain an attack? Is there a quite possibility that if they hit with a compromise, like their Active Directory is compromised, their backup has been tested, they can recover from the incident maybe as per their recovery time objective or recovery point objective in 2 days or 4 days? or they never tested their system. If they never tested their system, it means they have to rebuild from scratch. It might take months. So cyber resilience framework, actually, this is you're seeing from the World Economic Forum, and Accenture actually developed that. That's a good, actually, the framework where they make sure the organization is capable enough that they can continue to operate if they are hit with a cyber incident. It means their business continuity plans are operational, they have been tested, and they can functional as you're running with different incidents. So it means it's not only technical part, the systems, but also your organizational, your culture, your daily ways of working are also the part of the cyber resilience as well. So it means you build your resilience that you can operate in case or sustain in case of any cybersecurity incident. And now coming back to the cyber incident response, now we are more touching about the technical bit of that when it comes to the cyber incident response, what does it mean? So cyber incident response is basically the process of identifying, managing the consequences of cyber attack. It means that when you hit with a cyber incident, what are the different domains which we cover as a technical bit? Like if you're part of the SOC or you're part of the Cyber Defense Center, it means you have to prepare for that incident. What does it mean? You have to detect and respond to that incident. You have to contain that incident so that your attacker does not move from one network to other network if you are having lateral movement detection capabilities or not. And then how quickly you can recover from the incident. It means when incident hits, whole organization is looking at you as a cyber incident response function, that how quickly you can recover the organization from that incident. And then we have a lessons learned. It means what we learned from the whole incident. Incident can start from a minute, it can go to weeks, months, even the years as well sometimes. And depends, how complex the incident was, how good your process is. Again, going back to the cyber resilience. If it was a ransomware attack, was your whole environment or whole network was compromised, or was it a part of the incident network which was compromised, and how quickly you could recover to the original state where you were before the incident. So that all depends on the the maturity or the cyber resilience which you have in the organization. So when it comes to the incident response, this is really a good framework. So maybe if you have not gone through that one, just go. This is a US National Institute of Standards and Technology NIST framework, which is called 861 release 2. Actually, they have now released release 3 as well. That was actually open for the comments opinions, that has been closed now. But you can go, that's not a big difference there. So that's why I referred R2 here. So basically, आपको क्या बताता है? NIST 861 is a really good framework if you are starting in the cyber incident response space or your company is starting in that space. How you should going through different phases, how you should develop that capability from scratch. We'll have a deep dive on that one. So let's start with that one. So basically, it gives you a guideline how you need to prepare for a cyber attack. It means you need to have a, first of all, incident response process in place. You need to have your incident response plan in place. Or incident response plan is not a technical plan only. Incident response plan is a whole stakeholder communication plan. जब incident आएगा, आप किसको inform करेंगे? What will be the chain of command? Who will be your incident response leader? Who will be your incident response director? Who will talk to CIO? Who will talk to CISO? Who will talk to the legal privacy? And who will talk to the externals? Like if your organization is a bank, who will talk to State Bank of Pakistan? What says who will inform law enforcement agencies? Who will inform PKCERT? Who is the person in PKCERT you will talk to? So these are really good information which you will have as you should have as part of your incident plan, because when incident hits, you don't want to now explore that who you need to talk to. It means you should know people in all these stakeholders, and they should be part of your incident response documented. This is all part of the preparation. Incident response plan documented, and the next thing is your playbooks. What is the playbook? Playbook is the step-by-step instructions written. If you have a malware in the organization, how you are going to identify the malware, how you are going to detect that malware happen, and also how you're going to investigate that, and then how you're going to, if you're having a forensic capability, what forensic capabilities are steps you will take, and who will take that. We call it RACI. So RACI is responsible, accountable, consultant form, like who will do what in case of that incident. So this is all part of the preparation phase, and preparation phase doesn't happen during the incident. Make sure preparation happens now. Like you don't have an incident and now you're preparing for the incident, that incident will hit, and we will have everything documented and tested as well. That incident hit, and then we would know everything what we have to do next. The next stage is the detection analysis stage.
which is now giving you the whole step-by-step instructions that what detection means. In detection means you are capable enough, your team is trained enough, they have tools as well. If you're talking about the forensic investigation, do they have the forensic investigation skills? Do they have the tools? Do they have the controls that they can investigate that incident and analysis as well? It means they can analyze that incident as well. Again, take an example of malware. If you have malware in your environment, it was a APT malware, you would not find much information on sandboxing tools. Like if you use sandboxing virus total, where you throw the malware or you throw the URL or whatever it is, and it tells you that this is a known malware or it's a malicious malware, because that was a targeted malware. It means you would not find any information on the external sources that this malware was targeted, and this is a novel malware. So it means globally your organization is seeing first time. It means you should have a mature capability that you can investigate those type of malwares, and you should have pretty much good trained team on these tools, and also the analysis skills as well. So this second stage and third stage detection analysis will tell you the detailed step by step that how you should do that. And then containment, eradication, and post-incident recovery we will discuss in the next one. But telling you that this is the framework actually you can follow, but you should follow. We are following with this one, this cybersecurity framework, and NIST 861, which tells you the step-by-step incident response guide, how you should handle an incident. As a high-level recommendation in this framework actually is 861, that establish a formal incident response capability, like I'm saying to you. You should have a really good incident response capability in terms of not only the tooling, but also the people, the organization-wide stakeholder communication plan, the incident response playbooks, the incident response runbooks, and also you should have a capability to test those runbooks as well. Like, you're doing cyber drills, tabletop exercises, cyber drills at organization level, that when incident hits, how you're going to deal with that incident. Create an incident response policy, which should be again coming from the top, that what is the incident response policy, and that factors in actually that what is at stake in the organization, what crown jewels you have. If you are a bank, definitely your customer data is important, money is important, so you are going to protect that. It means your incident response policy that will clearly tells that what are your crown jewels, what are you going to secure and protect, and how you should protect that. If you're working in an oil and gas sector, it means for your crown jewels, OT environment is your crown jewels, because pipelines, they are delivering the fuel, diesel, whatever the oil is, and you need to protect those pipelines, all the systems handling those pipelines. It means your incident response plan and the policy would have that factors considered in. Develop IR procedures, again, incident response procedures, detailed step by step, what will happen, how you will handle that, and the document which I showed you before has a comprehensive guidelines on that one, that how you should develop your IR procedures and the playbooks and runbooks as well. Select people with the appropriate skills for the IR team. That is really important. If you're coming from a computer science background, or you are already part of the SOC, you want to understand what are the different incident response skills you want to develop. You want to skills your network forensic skills, you want to develop your desktop or disk image forensic skills, or you want to develop your OT incident response skills, or you want to now develop your skills in cloud environments as well, because we mostly every other organization has the cloud environments as well. So you want to develop, and your organization want to develop those skills and also test it as well, and the staff being trained continuously as well, so that when incident hits, you don't want to learn at that time that what is the environment and now how you want to deal with that one. It means you already know your environment, what you have in your environment at the backyard, and how you're going to protect and investigate in case of an incident. And also the last point, which I mentioned before as well, you need to identify other organizations, other people in the organization and external organization who will be part of your incident handling process. As I can mention, law enforcement agencies. You want to engage law enforcement agencies, you want to engage PKCERT, you want to engage your regulator, so they should be informed and they can help you in case of any incident. So these are different, as I discussed in the before, like, that there are different phases of the cyber incident response. And again, as per the NIST cybersecurity framework 861 R2, preparation phase, we discussed that preparation, you need to make sure your incident response plan is there, your IR team is there, or IR team ki jo roles and responsibilities that they are pretty much defined, that who is a forensic analyst, who is your malware reverse engineer, who is your incident responder, who is your incident response director, who is the conduit who is sitting, communicating to the, the C level. If you have an incident response director, he or she should be communicating to the director what's happening, where you are at the incident response, how quickly you can recover. So all this information, because jab incident aata hai organization mein, everyone, especially at the executive level, they want to understand that how quickly we can recover, how bad the attacker is, how bad the attack is. Do we have any further risk? Do we need to inform our regulator? Do we need to inform our law enforcement agencies? So you get a lot of questions, and that's for that one, you don't need only technical skills, but also soft skills. You need to have a very better control in the communication. You need to be very confident in speaking to the executives, and you need to have a good control and patience as well when you're dealing with these incidents, especially high profile incidents. I'm talking about ransomware. I have gone through some interesting incidents where definitely, my team was working with me closely. But then when you have to engage threat actors and you engage these sophisticated threat actors, you know what you have to speak and what you don't have to speak, what you want to show as a capability and what you don't want to show as a capability. So these are all come in the preparedness, how better or prepared you are when you're dealing with the incidents. The second stage, as I mentioned and discussed, is detection analysis, that you need to identify that how you will detect that incident. You can't detect if you don't know your assets. अगर आपको ये नहीं पता कि आपके assets क्या हैं, what you're protecting, how many servers you have, how many systems you have, how many networks you have, do you have any 4G, 5G connected in your OT network, which you should not be have. It means you don't know, you can't protect them. It means you should have clearly documented your processes, your systems, your people, which you should investigate. And also it means you should have a capability to detect those threats as well. You would have monitoring mechanisms. You call it intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. You would have firewalls. You would have web application firewalls. These are all the controls. You will have endpoint detection response. We call it EDR or EPP, antivirus type systems in the environment, which can detect and which will help you during the investigation as well. That what happened, how it happened, when happened. It will it will help you to build the whole timeline of the incident. So that's the second and third stage of that one. Next comes containment. That's an interesting one. So what is containment? Actually, containment is the limit the damage by preventing incident from spreading. You might have heard about the word lateral movement. Attacker, when they attack your network, they are not attacking one user. So when attackers send a phishing email, they send it to one user and they want user to click on that phishing link so they can come inside the network, because outside network they can't come easily. So when they come inside the network, what they do, they compromise one workstation or the system or whatever the system is or the server, and then they move laterally. It means they move to other networks in the same time as well, because they don't want to compromise the user system. They want to the system which has crown jewels, which has customer information, which has sensitive information, which has your databases and this information, and they move laterally from one set to other system. In case of an incident, the important step is containment. It means you contain that workstation or remove that affected workstation user from the whole ecosystem, so your network is not, your other network is safe and doesn't spread to the other network. So basically that's the infection control type of mechanism. The next stage is eradication. It means the remove the cause of the incident. Remove the cause of the incident means if you had a malware in the environment, you are going to remove the malware from the environment. You are making sure when the malware is removed, you are doing hunting in your environment that malware is no more there. It means the root cause of that incident has been eradicated now, like vaccinated, and now you are giving authority that system is good, the whole network is clean, and we can again reconnect the system back to the network or the system or the user which was compromised. You have already revoked their access, whatever it was, or you change their passwords, everything, and then now they are good to back be in the ecosystem. And the second last is recovery. It means restore the system to the normal state where it was before the incident. अगर आपका एक network, आपकी website, आपका operation technology systems was running before it was, after the incident, recovery stage, it should, it was a backup or whatever you have, however you restored it, it's coming back to the original state where it was. It's the recovery stage. And the last one is interesting one and most important one as well. Post-incident activity. We call it, you might have heard about the word post-mortem. Post-incident review actually is the lessons learned. What happened? Why it happened? In future, how we can prevent this from happening. So हम क्या steps ले सकते हैं कि this should not happen again in the organization? क्या हम training, phishing email, if someone clicked on the phishing email, should we improve the security awareness of the staff that if you see this phishing email, please don't click on that, report to the cyber defense or cybersecurity department so that they can deal with it. If you saw spam email or whatever it is, how you're going to report that. If you saw malicious activity on one of the operator machine in the OT petrochemical plant or on the hospital machine, how are you going to report that suspicious act to the cybersecurity team so that they can respond to that one. And also then you also see the technical controls. So it's not only the human factor in the post-incident, but also technical controls didn't work. If you had a phishing email, why it was not detected by your secure email gateways, you know, where it came through. It was a multi-factor authentication compromise, how it was not detected by the technical controls. If it was an unauthorized access by a intruder, how it was not, you know, the blocked at the perimeter of your network. If you had IDS, IPS, or the firewalls, it should have stopped. Why it didn't work for that one? Or if there was a vulnerability in the network which was exploited, how you can prevent that happening in future, that any vulnerability coming in like 0-day or any critical vulnerability, they should be patched as soon as it comes out in the, you know, the as soon as the patch is released. So these are all post-incident activities and lessons learned. Again, if you would have a priority 1 incident, normally there are different severities of the incident, priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, priority 4. Priority 1 is the very high severity incident. Say, for example, malware in the organization or the ransomware in the organization. It means when you will do the PIR, it's not only the cybersecurity team, but also your legal, your people and culture, you call it HR, or other organization stakeholders would be engaged there as well, because they all want to learn from the incident and they want to improve in future, that how we can prevent that happening in future, or even how we can improve our response to such incidents in future as well. So this is the interesting one. So you have incident response capability, the company, but how you want to test that your incident response is running and your incident response is mature enough. It means अगर आपके पास already incident response function है, how you are going to make sure that your incident response function is good. You have people, but are they competent enough? Are they skilled enough? Are they trained enough? Agar nahi hai, it means they need training. How you can do that? You can do cyber drills, or you call capture the flag. I know PKCERT and Ignite, they are doing a lot of good activities in that space now. They are doing a lot of capture the flag. It's a good opportunity. You can go there, be part of that cyber drills and capture the flag. You learn a lot in there. You will get a lot of good scenarios there, that, you know, the environments are compromised, or you get some different challenges, how you to solve that. And same should be done at the organization level as well, where your people are trained who needs to be part of that incident. And then to test that controls and the people capability, they can attack, you can detect and respond to these incidents. They have pen testing, purple team, and controls validation as well, that how good your systems are and how good the people are who are actually responding to the incident. So this helps you to understand that where your maturity is and where are the gaps in the people, process, technology that you need to improve as part of your incident response. This is, I'm sharing some of the cyber incident response metrics. This is actually being asked when you're dealing with the incident, that, you know, what was your mean time to detect? So mean time to detection is actually when incident happened, how quickly you detected it. You might have heard some incident, like I was talked before in the start, sunbursts are SolarWinds incident that happened and was not detected for 1 year. So how quickly you can detect the incident, it really depends how good the systems are you have for detection response, and also how you have configured those systems to detect those type of incidents. Mean time to contain, how quickly you can contain the incident, how quickly you can isolate the affected system from the network. Again, mean time to eradicate, and recovery, how quickly you can recover. So these are some good operational metrics which you can put as part of your cyber defense or SOC or incident response capability, which you can report for your not only high priority incident, but for the all incidents as well. When you're dealing with the incident, you might have heard about the word cyber threat intelligence. So cyber threat intelligence is a really good one because it helps you to understand, especially your SOC team, that cyber threat intelligence, you get a lot of data from global threat landscape, what's happening, who are the threat actors, what are their different techniques, how they attack or compromise the network, and how you can protect against those attacks. So you bring all this information from external and internal, and then you collect that data, you process that data, you analyze that data, and then you present it the 3 different formats. One is the strategic intelligence, which is for the C-level or executives or boards, like, you know, they want to understand what was the threat, what is the threat landscape looks like, who are the different threat they should protect against. Second is tactical intelligence, which is more technical and operational and tactical or board intelligence, as technical level, like indicators of compromise. You might have heard about that, indicators of compromise, you have a file or hash or IP address, what was malicious, they want to share information, and then this threat intelligence actually bring that information for your incident response team, which they can then investigate, which can improve their response time. So they will have contextual information that who was the threat actor behind that, what their motivation is, what they want to achieve that, and that helps your SOC team or cyber defense team to respond to the incident in a better way. And also it helps your executive to understand why they are being attacked, and how they can handle in a better way. So this is the second last framework we are discussing, MITRE ATT&CK framework. This is an interesting one as well. So MITRE ATT&CK framework basically is developed by US corporation, which is MITRE. You might have heard about MITRE. It's a non-profit organization created to provide the engineering technical guidance of federal government, but also it also developed the MITRE ATT&CK framework. Basically, MITRE ATT&CK framework is the knowledge base for the adversary. Attackers कौन है? Attackers क्या करना चाहते हैं? वो अपने क्या objectives achieve करना चाहते हैं? And what controls you can have to protect against these attacks? So you can go to this attack.mitre.org. You will see all those attack activities, and then you will see that what they are trying to do here. So basically, MITRE ATT&CK framework has 3 TTPs. You might have heard about the terminology called TTPs: tactics, technology, techniques, and procedures. So what is tactics? Tactics basically ये है कि attacker what they want to achieve as an objective. वो एक system को compromise करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए वो tactics क्या use करते हैं? तो अगर आप, if you look at this one, so you can see these are 14 tactics. Reconnaissance, these are the stages of the attack. जब attacker start their attack, they want to understand about organization. They want to understand who you are, what are the systems you have, do you have any exposed system or external exposed system, and do you have any credentials which are compromised, which they gain access to your network. So basically these are the different 14 tactics they want to understand, you want to understand, and then you want to go in detail as well that what controls you have in your environment, in your system, which can protect you against those tactics and techniques. So we have 14 tactics in MITRE ATT&CK framework, and then we have 188 techniques. It means the techniques are the main techniques, like the attacker when they do reconnaissance, how they can get information. So attacker को आपकी organization के मुतालिक information चाहिए, where they can go. They can go on LinkedIn. They can find out on your website. Your website or your job portal sometime will have more information. LinkedIn, you post a lot of information there. If you are dealing with a specific technology, if you are hiring people and you are looking for the skills, hey, I'm looking for a person, Java developer, I am looking for a Python developer, I'm looking for a security person who is having these type of skills. It means you are also exposing a lot of information on the tooling, what you have. Attacker gets all this information from the public interfaces, and then they use in reconnaissance. And then when they have these information, they use these techniques. So you can see here active scanning technique. It means active scanning is the technique, and then they have sub techniques. They are scanning IP blocks, they are doing vulnerability scanning, word list scanning as well. It means the attacker will use scanning capabilities. They can use Nmap or any other tool to scan your external perimeter because they want to identify what IP subnets you have. Do you have any exposed vulnerability? Do you have an exposed endpoint, like a remote desktop enabled from anyone? They can get access directly to that one. So it means they don't need to drop any malware. So if you use MITRE ATT&CK framework, that will help you to understand different type of controls you have in the organization, and how they map or they can detect these type of attacker activities in your network. And the last thing is the procedures in there. So TTP's procedure is basically detailed level of activities. It tells you step by step that how attacker has done these activities in other networks. So you can see here, the Ember Beer, the threat actor, a team entity, they have specific scans, IP addresses, how they have done it. So it means they tell you clearly that these advanced threat actors, what are the different steps they take that they can attack your network, and you will better understand before they attack your network that what are the different controls you can enable against these scanning techniques, against these the lateral movement detection techniques, that you can block attacks in the initial stages of the attack. And this is the last one, CyberWatch. It's another popular cybersecurity framework used in threat detection and hunting. We call it CyberWatch, but it's not as detailed as MITRE ATT&CK framework. MITRE ATT&CK framework जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा detailed है, जिसमें आपको जो latest attacks happening globally in IT as well as OT. And one thing I didn't mention, MITRE ATT&CK framework is separate for IT and separate for OT, or industry control systems, and also for mobile applications. So enterprise industry control systems, because industry control systems you attack and they are a bit different how attacker performs attack activities. So MITRE ATT&CK will cover all those TTPs, tactic, techniques, and procedure. While CyberWatch is a very simple, because it was created in 2011 by Lockheed Martin, the American company, or it was a very military style thing. You know, attacker, when they come in the environment, they do reconnaissance, they will do weaponization, like, you know, the malicious email, they will write malicious email, they will send the phishing email, and delivery phase, like, you know, they can drop a phishing email to your staff member or spare phishing email, and when someone click on that, they will start exploitation, like they can spread a malware, they can compromise the credential there, and then they install that malware in the environment, or the stage 2 malware, what is it is command and control, and, you know, achieve objective क्या हो सकता है, data exfiltration हो सकती है, ransomware हो सकता है, but there is still some understanding that the MITRE ATT&CK framework is mostly used nowadays as compared to the CyberWatch. So basically now I'm putting this all together, what we discussed in all this key takeaways. So key takeaways हमारे क्या हैं? कि preparation is the key. If you don't have an incident response plan, please make sure you have one. If you don't have one, please start developing now. And it's organization level incident response plan. It's not for your system. It's not for your only cyber defense or the SOC. It's for all the organization. Adopt a structured framework. You can use this cybersecurity framework. It's a good one. Actually, it has 5 domains: identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Actually, now they have in the CSF cybersecurity framework 3.0, they have added the governance there as well. It's a good structured framework which tells you your organization capabilities, and each area you are, you have to improve that on as well. The next third thing is know your assets and adversary. It is really important. Know your assets means you should know what are your assets. You should know your IP addresses, you should know your servers, your applications in the environment, and how you would know that. You should have a really good CMDB, configuration management database, जो कि आपको तमाम system asset management softwares बताती है कि इस asset का इस application को own कौन करता है organization में, if that is compromised, who needs to reach out, and all that stuff, you know, that will help you. And also know your adversary. That's an important one. You know why? You want to know who are your adversaries, who can attack you. And how you do that, you develop your threat profile. Threat profile basically is you can do like a quarterly, yearly exercise where you go and check who is attacking you, who is knocking on your door continuously, who is on your, you know, dropping the traffic on your firewalls, which is continuously being dropped, but they're still coming in, you know, on your web application, your web gateways, who is actually coming in and, you know, scanning your networks because they want to understand more and they can come at later stage. So you should know your adversary who can attack you. And then you should invest in your resiliency and skills as well. So that's important. As I mentioned, cyber resilience, you know, you should have organizational resiliency and also the skills in that area. Invest in your skills as an individual, also invest in organizational skills as well, so you can respond to these incidents in a better way. Drills for your incident response planner. So if you have an incident response plan, don't just make a document and, you know, put it on the shelf. Make sure that your incident response plan is documented and also drilled frequently as well. In case of an incident, you should know what steps you have to take there and who you need to engage to as part of your incident plan. Engage and communicate large organization. That's a very important thing. When you're working in cyber, sometimes we are working in a very silo situation. You want to make sure that you engage other organization people as well. You engage legal, procurement, whoever can be part of your incident when it comes. You need to build relationships with them. You need to talk to them, and also that will help you to improve your incident response timelines, you know, how quickly you can respond to the incident, because you would know already the not only internal external stakeholders but also external stakeholders, like, you know, you should know the people in your law enforcement agencies, PKCERT, you know, other organization who can help you in case of any incident in future. And that's all from my end. Thank you. If you have any question answers.
So thank you, Ali. Let's have some questions from the audience. Floor is open. Please raise your hand so Babar जो हैं वो आपको activate करें mic को और आप feel free to ask.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible, sir?
जी जी बिल्कुल.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I wanted to ask about आपने दो different domains की बात की, IT और OT की. तो बेसिकली ओटी के अंदर जब हम लोग इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहे होते हैं तो हम लोग ज़्यादातर नेटवर्क ट्रैफिक के ऊपर रिलाई कर रहे होते हैं या रैम की वॉलेटाइल मेमोरी के ऊपर. अदर देन दैट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ टाइम ओटी फॉरेंसिक्स इज डील्ड विद द कंपनी जो कि उसको हमें वेंड कर मतलब काइंड ऑफ लाइक प्रोवाइड कर रही होती है. तो how come these all the things come into a place like incident response align किया जाए किस तरह कि in case of any incidents हम लोग response properly कर पाएं कि अगर suppose जिस तरह recently हमारे पास एक incident आया था Windows का क्लाउड स्ट्राइक का कि जहां अपडेट्स का इशू आ रहा था. तो it took a whole day to analyze it and respond. तो is it possible कि OT को efficient बनाने के लिए there would be a type of procedural way कि जिसके अंदर हम as soon as possible की बेस पे कोई प्रोसीजर बता सके या बना सके.
थैंक यू फैज़ल, गुड क्वेश्चन, रियली गुड क्वेश्चन. अच्छा, इसमें दो क्वेश्चन है. इसमें पहला क्वेश्चन आपका क्राउड स्ट्राइक है. क्राउड स्ट्राइक इवेंट जब आया था, दैट वाज लाइक अ ग्लोबल इवेंट बिकॉज ऑफ देयर सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट. You don't have any control on that type of events because these are sort of a supply chain, which I discussed sunburst as well. Incident जब solar के साथ आया था, that was a global because you don't have any control. You have to rely on these companies. But what's in your control? If you're talking about OT में you can still deal with the incidents. You have limitation there. You still rely on RAM. You still have the hard disk because okay, OT combination किसका है? You're not talking about the machineries or the sensors you're investigating. लेकिन उन मशीन या सेंसर्स को जो लेवल 1 या लेवल 2 पे जो चीजें कंट्रोल करनी है, जिसके मैंने PLC की बात की है, प्रोग्रामर लॉजिकल कंट्रोलर, which is sort of a small computer which controls these devices, you can investigate that one. Behind that you have HMI, human machine interface, जहां से वो इंस्ट्रक्शंस PLC को जा रही होती हैं. जैसे आपने फैक्ट्रीज में देखा होगा, normally they have a physical PLC, so you can investigate those type of PLC that what instructions have been given to that component. robotic arm जो था उसको क्या इंस्ट्रक्शंस दी गई थी. और normally these जो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इसके बिहाइंड होते हैं वो विंडोज ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होते हैं. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इंजीनियरिंग वर्कस्टेशन. सो अगर मैं आपसे इफ वी गो बैक क्विकली जहां हमने ओटी को डिस्कस किया था, तो यू विल सी कि जो कंपोनेंट्स उसके बिहाइंड पे हैं ये. So this is actually again the systems. Mostly these are Windows systems, these are Linux systems as well. So you can investigate that, and they are engineering workstation from where you are talking to your PLCs. So you can investigate that. You can take their memory image, you can take their disk image, and then you can investigate. Or you need to understand कि incident आता कहाँ से है, क्योंकि OT totally separate domain होता है. तो incident कहाँ से आ सकता है? They are not directly connected to the internet. So incident आ सकता है, someone is using the USB in the workstation, so you can investigate that. In the memory, you can, in the even disk, you can go a registry, you can get that triage, it will tell you who plugged the USB. These artifacts you can do that. अच्छा, अब कर कैसे सकते हैं कि जैसे आपका इंसिडेंट रिस्पांस प्लान होता है, you should have playbooks for your OT environment as well. OT environments के लिए भी specific playbooks कि अगर ये सिस्टम OT का compromise होता है, PLC compromise होती है, how you will investigate that. आप memory image उसका कैसे लेंगे, आप उसका disk image कैसे लेंगे, जो engineering workstation है या data historian है, कौन लेगा उसका image, और chain of custody क्या होगी, और फिर आप investigate कैसे करेंगे. Does
सर
that answer?
यूजुअली सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट सर, यूजुअली ओटी के अंदर हम लोगों के पास सीम के सॉल्यूशंस या सॉक के या सॉर के आ जाते हैं, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली सारे लॉग्स को भी इंटीग्रेट कर रहे होते हैं. तो इतना हम लोग जब प्रिसाइज रिपोर्ट बना रहे होते हैं तो आफ्टर दैट एक रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का थोड़ा सा आता है कि हाँ वहाँ जाके हम लोगों को रिलाई करना पड़ता है कि हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल एट विच एंड. तो उसके लिए आपकी कोई रिकमेंडेशन?
उसमें आपका जो इंसिडेंट रिस्पांस प्लान होता है, दैट क्लियरली टेल्स यू द रेसी क्या होती है. जैसे मैंने एक वर्ड यूज किया था कि रेसी, यू डेवलप रिस्पॉन्सिबल अकाउंटेबल कंसल्टेंट इन्फॉर्म. अगर एज इंसिडेंट रिस्पॉन्डर you are not responsible to handle the OT component, like we are not responsible to handle the OT component, but we have a OT stakeholders. You need to talk to them कि अगर ये machine compromise है, I want to take the image of that one. You can give them instructions like you can't go on the oil and gas plant, but you can tell them this is the script they want to run that, and they will bring image back to you. So आपका जो RACI incident response plan में होगा, that will clearly tell that who will be doing what. Or when you're doing tabletop exercises, you actually engage them as part of your incident response tabletop exercises, that you will be giving them instructions, they will bring the image from you from the field, and you will then investigate that. Or अगर आप investigate भी नहीं करते, if you have an external incident response retainer like companies like Google, CrowdStrike, then they will investigate, और आपके incident response plan में clearly mention होगा कि who will be investigating that one.
Okay sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
अच्छा सर, मेरा ये क्वेश्चन था कि जैसे आपने बताया कि इंसिडेंट अगर कोई अकर हो जाता है तो जैसे आपने कहा था कि इन्फॉर्म करना चाहिए, जैसे इंसर्ट है या कोई ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है कंट्री के हवाले से। तो ज़्यादातर जो पाकिस्तान में मैंने भी देखा है कि इंसिडेंट अगर कोई अकर हो जाता है तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो है वो ड्यू टू रेपुटेशन लॉस वो हाइड करती हैं, वो इन्फॉर्म नहीं करती। तो इस चीज से किस तरह से वो ओवरकम करना चाहिए, और इस चीज को कि मतलब जैसे गवर्नमेंट के कुछ इदारे हैं जैसे इंसर्ट है या कोई और इदारा है, उसको इन्फॉर्म करना चाहिए ताकि वो उसकी हेल्प कर सकें। यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा इस तरह से है कि उसको हाइड किया जाता है इंसिडेंट्स को।
That's really good question, Sohail. I think it's natural, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल में जब, क्योंकि अब हम देखते हैं कि एनसर्ट की एंगेजमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है, लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसीज के साथ भी है, डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ भी है. If the organization will start, I think it start building that confidence when national CERT will actually start interacting with a lot of organizations in Pakistan. That will give them the confidence that they are there to help them. It's not like in Australia as well. We have Australian Cyber Security Center, which is called the Australian Signal Directorate. So any incident happens, we report it to them, and then they engage law enforcement agencies. So same model can be developed in Pakistan. When you engage, organization engages national CERT, they will start engaging law enforcement agency, and law enforcement agencies and CERT will be there to help the organization to recover from the incident, or they will be there to provide the logistics, whatever they need there. They are not, mostly these organizations are not there to blame the organization or to, put their reputation at risk. I think, that can be improved when national CERT will have more engagement with the organization. I think maybe Imran can, uh, uh, help on that one, that how national CERT is doing that, having a more engagement for the organization so that they can start reporting their incidents to the national CERT in future.
Sir, I wanted to add another question kindly. इसके अंदर ही इंसिडेंस रिस्पांस के अंदर हमारे पास लीगल कंप्लाइंस आती है, तो क्योंकि लीगल कंप्लाइंस हर कंट्री टू कंट्री वेरी कर रही होती है, प्लेस टू प्लेस इवन वेरी कर रही होती है, और कंपनी टू कंपनी भी वेरी कर रही होती है अक्सर, तो उसको किस तरह केटर किया जाए या उसको किस तरह यूनिवर्सली एक्सेप्ट किया जाए कि ठीक है, इन केस ऑफ इन एनी डाटा लीक जो बंदे उसके रिस्पॉन्सिबल होंगे या जो बंदे उनसे अफेक्ट हो रहे होंगे उनको किस तरह कंपनसेट करना है या उनको किस तरह एड्रेस करना है, तो हाउ डू यू रिकमेंड?
अच्छा, इसमें फैज़ इसमें क्योंकि लीगल मेरी एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है, लेकिन बट as part of my incident response, I deal day to day with my legal team as well, globally in here in America as well. Legal, basically, when it comes to legal team is very now mature in the cyber practice. They are dealing with cyber breaches, they are dealing with the espionage attempts and all this stuff, so they are well familiar with that one. So when you engage your legal department for that one, they are dealing with external stakeholder like cyber insurance, law enforcement. So definitely they are not there to blame someone that because of this person this happened. लेकिन उनके compensation controls, even जो आपकी public comms होती हैं, they are already in the mature organization, they are well written, they are already written in there, so they will already have the process in place कि legal जब incident आएगा तो legal को उसमें क्या role होगा. And again, going back to the same question, that will be part of your incident response plan, that as a RACI, what legal will be doing for you, because as an incident response, you will be just focusing on the technical bits of that one. You will not be talking to the external law enforcement agencies. You will not be talking to the say answer. Your legal will be a conduit who will be talking to the external agencies, and then they will share the message between you. And also if you have an incident response retainer like Google CrowdStrike, they will be talking to them. So in a mature organization, legal will already have those processes documented, that what they have to do there, and legal can guide you next in case of an incident.
ओके सर. सर आप इसको पाकिस्तान के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से किस तरह देखते हैं,
यार
और आई
पाकिस्तान की
वुड रिक्वेस्ट सर इमरान के वो पाकिस्तान के लिहाज से किस तरह इसको एड्रेस कर सकते हैं.
इसमें देखें फैज़ी आप, हमारे पास नेशनल सर्ट में इंसिडेंट रिस्पांस टीम है हमारी जो 24/7 काम कर रही है. उनके हमारा पूरा रिपोर्टिंग मैकेनिज्म है, उसको आप हमारी वेबसाइट पे देख लीजिएगा. मैं आपको फर्दर एलैबोरेट भी कर दूंगा सेपरेटली. वो हमारी टीम 24/7 करती है. जहाँ तक ताल्लुक है गवर्नेंस, रिस्क एंड रिस्पॉन्स का, वो एक अलग हमारा डोमेन है, वो भी उसको देख रहा होता है. तो ये सारी चीज़ें हैं. फिर जो साइबर क्राइम का एरिया है वो ज़ाहिर FIA देखता है हमारा, वो हम नहीं देखते. हम इंसिडेंट मैनेजमेंट को देखते हैं, और जो भी कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में जो हमारा, वी आर द नेशनल सर्ट, हमारे नीचे सेक्टोरल सर्ट्स हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से, लाइक नेपरा, पीटीए, ओग्रा, और डाउन द लाइन उनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जैसे स्टेट बैंक है तो उसके नीचे तमाम बैंकिंग, फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर, बैंकिंग सेक्टर है। तो तमाम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में जो भी इंसिडेंट आते हैं या कोई चीज़ वो करते हैं, वो कंप्लेन हमारे पास आती है और उसको हम फोरेंसिक और सारी डिटेल्स करते हैं, और उसके अकॉर्डिंगली फिर हमारे जो एक्सटेंडेड टीम्स हैं हमारी, उनको हम फॉरवर्ड करते हैं, और उसका एक पूरा वे फॉरवर्ड है, पूरा हिरार्कियल स्ट्रक्चर है। तो वो मैं आपको सेपरेटली भी गाइड कर दूंगा, और आप यू ऑल आर मोर देन वेलकम टू नेशनल सर्ट। आप हमारे ऑफिस भी आ सकते हैं, आप हमारे, मैं तमाम डायरेक्टरेट से आपसे मुलाकात करा सकता हूँ, आप को प्रेजेंटेशन वगैरह हम सारी दे सकते हैं जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से भी हैं, तो आप वो एक स्पेसिफिक आपको स्ट्रक्चर आइडिया हो जाएगा।
हेलो सर, आवाज़ आ रही है मेरी सर? एम आई?
जी, you're audible.
जी आ रही है
सर। सर मेरा सवाल सर रिगार्डिंग ये साइबर थ्रेट एक्टर्स के हवाले से है सर। आपने बड़े डिटेल में सर एपीटी, साइबर क्रिमिनल एक्टिविस्ट वगैरह जो है ना सर डिस्कस किया है सर। तो सर माय क्वेश्चन इज रिगार्डिंग सर इनसाइडर थ्रेट सर, जो कि ये बाकी तो मतलब हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है, मगर इनसाइडर थ्रेट को हम सर किस तरह कंटेन या मिनिमाइज कर सकते हैं सर?
गुड क्वेश्चन आदिल। देखिए, इनसाइडर थ्रेट जैसे मैंने बताया कि इनसाइडर थ्रेट डेफिनेटली यू कैन हैव सम गुड मैकेनिज्म्स, यू कैन कंट्रोल एट टेक्निकल लेवल एज वेल एज द प्रोसेस लेवल एज वेल। अच्छा, टेक्निकल लेवल पे जब आप करते हैं, यू वुड हैव सम टेक्निकल सॉल्यूशंस, से सॉर्ट ऑफ अ डीएलपी सॉल्यूशन, डाटा लीक प्रिवेंशन सॉल्यूशन और डाटा लीक डिटेक्शन टाइप ऑफ सॉल्यूशन। जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में जो ईमेल्स सेंसिटिव डाटा के साथ बाहर जा रही होती है, यू कैन मॉनिटर देम, यू कैन इवन ब्लॉक देम एज वेल। नॉर्मली व्हेन वी हायर, लाइक इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, यू नो, व्हेन वी हायर अ स्टाफ, दे हैव टू साइन सम information security policies as well, you know, as part of the hiring process, like acceptable use policy. It means we clearly tell them that your systems might be monitored for any suspicious activity, or your email communication might be monitored as well. It means they already know that we are monitoring this one. So if they are sharing any sensitive information, that would be monitored, and that can be monitored by the DLP solutions, MCAS solution. If they're using any shadow IP application for uploading any data, you can monitor that as well, like sort of a Dropbox application, Google Drive, so you can block them, you can monitor them as well. This is one of the technical aspect. Process aspect, agar aap dekhenge, human aspect, there are different ways they can take screenshots, all that stuff, you know. If there is, like you can see on my screen, there's an incident response, you know, the document, they can take the screenshots of that one. You can't control them, but you can raise the awareness, you know. There are a lot of cybersecurity awareness campaigns you can run, that you know, you can tell your staff that there would be some legal consequences that if you share any sensitive information with externals. So I think you can control that in a process way, also as in a human level as well as a technical controls level as well.
सर थैंक यू।
थैंक यू। आई थिंक वन क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम शकीब खान।
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for taking this question. The picture you are showing me first, I know distributed systems, and the most modern form of this distributed systems are blockchain. So first my question is this: what kind of threats can be expected in these distributed systems? I am talking about in terms of machine learning algorithm that has been working inside the systems. And the second part of my question is that first is how to detect those AI related attacks, and the second question is that what if some of the client is poisoned in the whole distributed system? How to remove that client, because that client is very important for the whole distributed system. So how to remove that client?
Thank you, Shakib. Okay, so to your question, basically, I will take it a general question in the LLM, especially AI security. So if you talk about the especially large language models or AI, you know, the poisoning, what's happening in that and how we can detect that. Normally, still it's not yet mature in that space, but there are a lot of attacks, like, you know, if you have gone through the OS top 10, which is the application based attacks, the LLM has LLM poisoning is there attack as well, which is, it means your LLM model which you have trained for different prompts or different playbooks or for different data based on specific data, the attacker can get access to that model, and then they can start training your LLM model with their own poison data as well. So these are the different type of vulnerabilities which we have observed in the AI/LLM model, and then how you can protect against those attacks. It means you have to make sure that the only authorized people who should have access to your model, they should have access. If you see any unauthorized activity, that any unknown person, unauthorized person have access to your LLM model. It means you would have again the same playbooks, run books, that how you're going to detect and then prevent these type of attack. But I'm not having a good answer for you on the blockchain specifically, that how we'll take that the candidate out of that one. But in general, there are different solutions now coming up in the AI space, that how you can protect your large language models, or the even the deep learning DL models as well in that space for these type of attack activities.
So I think this was the last question. So I know, Ali, there's 2:30 morning there. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ali, for such an informative session. On behalf of the National CERT Government of Pakistan, I extend our gratitude, and we definitely invite you again for some other informative sessions as well. So I would like to thank all the participants. I am confident all the participants found this session both enjoyable and highly informative. So thank you very much. We are signing out. Have a good day and bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me, Imran.
Thank you, Ali.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.